this is Rod, Boomer Guitar Sessions, and today we are going to attack the problem of learning 100,000 licks. The problem with learning 100,000 licks is you never remember them, and that is not the way you're going to learn to be free on the guitar. When I say that, nobody can memorize 100,000 licks, and free people don't just repeat exact sentences that they've heard somebody else say. And that's true with musicians, it's true with music as well. Okay, so with that said, we are going to talk a little bit about an alternative to the way we're all taught how to get lick vocabulary under wraps, mastered. We're going to talk about a concept that is called cornerstone licks. When I say cornerstone licks, you know, in an arch, in architecture, in an arch, the cornerstone is the thing that holds it all together, holds both sides of the arch together. It's that thing in the middle that just everything relies on. Now, what you need to do is not learn 100 separate licks. You need to learn 5, but learn how to elaborate and how to move in between these two licks, and how to associate licks with certain scales, and how to be creative. You don't need to learn 1,000 licks. You need to learn 5, 10, 15. And then learn to manipulate those things and repurpose those things. These are called what I call cornerstone licks. When we say something's a cornerstone lick, how do we discover a cornerstone lick? A cornerstone lick, well, first of all, cornerstone licks differ from style to style. Okay, so Chuck Berry cornerstone licks are going to be different than Tony Iommi cornerstone licks, but Chuck Berry cornerstone licks have a lot in common with Angus Young, have a lot in common with Georgia Satellites, have a lot in common with a lot of country rock, with a lot of southern rock, okay, with a lot of like early, like the Rolling Stones, the 60s and 70s Rolling Stones, the earliest Mick Taylor, and have you ever heard Keith Richards soloing? Usually it's Chuck Berry that he's soloing. Angus Young does not pray to Jimi Hendrix or Eric Clapton, or certainly doesn't pray to Eddie Van Halen. He prays to Chuck Berry, musically speaking. All right, so he has taken some of Chuck's licks and learned to reproduce them. So with that said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you about 5 cornerstone licks that are within the Chuck Berry style. All right. Kind of Georgia Satellites-ish, because I don't want it to be super, super fast. Okay, I don't want, in other words, Chuck Berry's tempos were always like pretty clipping. If we're just starting out on improvising, let's slow the tempo down a little bit. So a cornerstone lick that Chuck Berry would appropriate. And now, how do I discover cornerstone licks? Well, I listen to the things that my ear attaches itself to, and I learn that lick, and then I try to make use of that lick. And if it sounds something Chuck Berry-ish, and I can repurpose it, then it's a cornerstone lick. The idea is, can you elaborate on it, and can you attach it to other unrelated things that Chuck Berry might not have played, or not. We're not trying to, we're not even trying to paraphrase Chuck Berry. We're trying to take Chuck Berry as an inspiration and take his language and reorder the words, but use the same language. So one of Chuck Berry's cornerstone licks might be 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2, which is this. That's a Chuck Berry lick. That's a cornerstone lick. That's a cornerstone lick. That's 1 2 3 1 2 3 and 1 2. This lick in itself That lick in itself is a Chuck Berry cornerstone lick. Whenever you hear that, you think that's Chuck Berry. That's taking that cornerstone lick and elaborating on it. Maybe that can be a cornerstone lick into itself. Okay, so something like this. Okay, so that lick enables us to move into a different position. Now that also reminds me of Billy Gibbons. All right, so these are all cornerstone licks, something like this. That little bend there. That little thing. These are all little cornerstone licks that we can do. That's a cornerstone lick. That's a cornerstone lick. Something on the edge of Chuck Berry that's kind of like Charlie Christian. Anyway, this idea of cornerstone licks. So in future episodes of Boomer Guitar Sessions, we're going to discuss cornerstone licks in a variety of different styles. I think Chuck Berry is a great place to start because that is like where rock and roll begins. So rock and roll lead guitar started with Chuck Berry. He is the first guitar hero. In some circles of rock and roll, you don't know how to play rock guitar unless you know some Chuck Berry. Whether it's you know it through Angus Young, you know it through the Rolling Stones, you may know it through other people, but it originated from Chuck Berry. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to check out some. I'm going to solo us on out, and I believe in you, and I know you can do this. And this is Rod Boomer Guitar Sessions. Hi, this is Rod from Boomer Guitar Sessions. I personally wanted to thank you for being part of our community. If you like what we're doing here and you want to see more of it, please hit the like, subscribe, and share. And this helps me spread my musical messages to all over the world. Thank you. I appreciate you. And always remember, you can do this.